Well, hi there. My name is Rachel Hull, and I help teachers set up and maintain the literacy stations in their classroom. And I am going to talk to you today about literacy stations like I most normally do, but I'm also going to talk to you about seasonal activities. And so we're going to learn how to put seasonal activities into your literacy stations so it frees up the time that you have in your already busy schedule. And so this video, we're going to talk about President's Day. So before we get started, go ahead and click like and subscribe. That really helps me get more videos out in front of more teachers to help them with their literacy stations. And hitting subscribe means that you're going to know every time I add a new video, which might also help you with your literacy stations. So it is hard to fit everything into our already busy schedules as teachers as it is. And you have such limited time to add anything new, including seasonal things like President's Day. And so I'm going to show you how to change your literacy stations a little bit to include those things like President's Day, and that way you don't have to change what you're doing as a whole group. Now, I do want to say I do have some of these things as whole group. I always have my posters of Abraham Lincoln and George Washington hanging up when my students first walk in the room, and they are so excited to see these two. They love President's Day. They love hearing the stories. They love learning that they never met. These two gentlemen never met, and it's like mind blown for them. And so I always put up posters to see what do they know already. And so I'll put up a poster of George Washington and I'll ask for that prior knowledge. What do you know? And then I'll take my sticky notes. You guys know I love my sticky notes. See my sticky note shelf that I just made. And so I'm going to be able to say, where are my sticky notes here? You know, they know that George Washington is the first president. And so I will stick a sticky note to George, you know, that they do know it's the first, you know, that he was the first president. They do know that Abraham Lincoln's face, most likely they know, is on a penny. Okay, so just ask your students what they know already, and that's going to help you with that prior knowledge. And then at the end of the unit, see what they learned. And so these are the two whole group things I do. So I'm going to revisit my posters in just a minute, but I'm going to show you what I add to my literacy stations to incorporate kind of any seasonal activities, but especially President's Day. So let me show you with my slides. I have videos on all of my digital activities, almost all of them. And so I have videos that tell about George Washington and Abraham Lincoln, and that's how we begin. That's any kind of digital resource they'll begin with the video as well. So that helps. You know, if you're not able to do those quality read alouds, which I still hope you can do, but if not, you're going to have a video here. Now you can use one of mine, or you can find one on YouTube as well. And then I always love compare and contrast. You know, you try to find any reading skill that you can put in your reading comprehension stations. And for this one, it's not hard to find its compare and contrast. And so, you know, there's so many facts about the two that are the same and they're different. They're both on, you know, on coins, but they're on different coins. One lived in the White House, one did not. So, you know, but they were both presidents. So you can just really do a good job of comparing and contrasting. If you're fully digital, you can use the activities on Seesaw or Google Slides, but you can also use this one right there, which is just a cut and paste activity as well. Let's see if you can see that. There you go. And so that way they can cut and paste the things that are the same in a Venn diagram, because you know, this lends to a lot of good reading skills for this. And I always have a writing passage. You know, Abraham Lincoln just lends to so much quality writing ideas. You know, what would you say if you met Abraham Lincoln? You know, what did you learn about him? Have a conversation with him. You know, speech bubbles, all those things that, you know, you really want them to be creative when you're writing. So I would definitely look into putting Abraham Lincoln activities in your writing station. And then also, you know, character traits. There's so much good character traits from Abraham Lincoln, George Washington too as well. I know I kind of teach my kids that, the whole I cannot tell a lie. Some people are saying that didn't really happen, but what would it be? It would be an honest. That would be a good character trait. And especially with Abraham Lincoln, you've got so many good character traits that you can pull from them. And then I would put that in my library and then say, I'd give them a sticky note. Now find somebody else that also was brave or also was honest. And then they have to go and find that character and then write it on the sticky notes. So those are some ways to introduce character traits during President's Day in your literacy stations. Same thing with, this is a printable one. It's a worksheet instead of the one on Google Slides or Seesaw. And then also you can sort just kind of some fun things. They can sort money either on their devices or on a piece of paper. It just depends on which is your preference and what you are going to do in your stations. And then also reading passages, because this helps with a lot of predictive reading. They've already heard the stories. They already know, kind of what's coming next. And so when they come upon unfamiliar words in the reading passages, they're going to be able to kind of predict what they are. And so reading passages for Abraham Lincoln and George Washington are going to be easier for them to read because they know what's going on. And then this is so much fun. They love writing what would I do if I was president? And they'll just, I don't know, I always get mind blown. They come up with such great ideas that you wouldn't think that they would come up with at 5 or 6 years old. I would think that they would want more ice cream or, that everyone should have a pet. But they really come up with some really good things that they would do if they were president. So we have those on Google Slides and Seesaw, as well as on a worksheet that they can draw themselves as president and write their sentences. So let me go back to me here. Now I do have some fun wrap-up kind of activities as well for George Washington and Abraham Lincoln. I do have a couple mini books. These are also available. So you have the mini books right here where they can color and read it. I like to also send these home to read to their families. So this is something that I might have set out in a literacy station, and then also they can take these home. They just really like to take them home and read with their families. So after my President's Day station, my President's Day unit and everything is done at that week at their literacy stations. Do you ever do that? Listening literacy? Too many L's. At their literacy stations, I like to kind of wrap things up, and I'll bring my posters back out again, and I'll ask, what else did we learn? We knew these things. Did you learn anything else about Abraham Lincoln or George Washington? So they might be able to say that George Washington made maps. And then you'll add that to your poster. Or that Abraham Lincoln was the 16th president. And so you can add that to your poster. And so that's a good way to wrap up the President's Day unit in your classroom. But you can see that you didn't take a lot of time out of your whole class, and you used a lot of it at your literacy stations. And so that's going to be a really good thing for you to do to save some time. And of course, I always pass out bookmarks when I can. So I have Abraham Lincoln and George Washington bookmarks to send home with my students or to keep in their library books, if you're able to have library books this year. And so I do have George Washington where they can color, there you go, where they can color him and then also trace his name for good handwriting practice. And so we have George Washington and we have Abraham Lincoln. So all of these are available at literacystations.com at my website. They are also available on Teachers Pay Teachers. I'm going to put the link in the comments for you to go ahead and get a set of your President's Day activities for your literacy stations. So I hope that you enjoy them. If you do, go ahead and leave me a comment. I love to hear how these work for you and your students in your classroom. I love hearing from you. So if you have any questions, please go ahead and let me know. And otherwise, happy President's Day. I hope you have some time off. That's kind of the best. That's the best time about President's Day is a lot of people get a 4-day weekend. So hopefully you do too. So have a good one.